Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. If you love cherries, you are going to love today's easy dessert recipe. I want to show you how to make the best almond cherry bread. This incredible bread is so moist and delicious, dotted with fresh cherries, sliced almonds, and we're going to add some almond extract to add even more incredible flavor. This bread is perfect in the morning with a cup of coffee. And if you've previously enjoyed my cranberry orange bread or my blueberry lemon bread, this is the same recipe, but we're adding cherry and almond flavor this time. Now, I love this recipe in the summertime with fresh cherries, but if you're making it out of season, you could also use canned cherries for this recipe. Let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make this delicious bread. I have my oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to start with all the wet ingredients and the sugar first. So into a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add in half a cup of unsalted butter. I just melted this in the microwave. Pour that melted butter in. Next, I'll add in half a cup of Greek yogurt. You can also use plain strained yogurt for this recipe. And half a cup of buttermilk. And we'll need 2 large eggs. Add the eggs into your mixing bowl, along with 3/4 cups of white granulated sugar. And today I'll be using 1.5 teaspoons of almond extract and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm going to grab my hand mixer and mix this all together for a couple minutes until I have a smooth mixture. And next up, we have our dry ingredients. I'm going to be using 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To the flour, I'm going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And we're also going to need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to sift the dry ingredients into my batter. And you want to do this to ensure that you don't end up with any clumps of flour in your bread. And then I'll grab my hand mixer and mix in the flour just until it's incorporated for about 30 seconds to a minute. For today's recipe, I'm going to be using 1.5 cups of fresh cherries. I pitted and then quartered these so you have little bits of cherries in every single bite. Now, you can use canned cherries for this recipe as well. What I recommend doing is dumping the canned cherries into a fine mesh strainer, let all the juices drain out, and then quarter them as well. So next, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Drop that in. I'm going to take a spoon and then just toss this all together. I'm going to add in most of my cherries into the batter. I'm going to reserve a little bit for adding to the top of my bread. And I also have 1/2 cup of sliced almonds. I'm going to do the same with these. I'm going to add most of them into the batter. I'm going to reserve a little bit for the topping. And then I'll use a spatula to fold in the cherries and the almonds. For baking my almond cherry bread, today I'm going to be using an 8.5-inch loaf pan. I've sprayed the sides with a non-stick baking spray, and I also lined the inside with some parchment paper. This way it's going to be super easy to just kind of lift the loaf out of the pan. Now I'm going to transfer the batter into the pan. And then I'll add my remaining cherries right on top. Just kind of sprinkle them in. And the almonds. This almond cherry bread is ready to go into the oven. It's going to bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 50 to 60 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. Once it's done baking, take it out of the pan and onto a wire rack to cool completely. My almond cherry bread is cooling away, and I want to show you guys really quick how to add an optional glaze. So I have about 1/2 cup of confectioner sugar in my mixing bowl. I'm going to add in 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. It's going to add lots of almond flavor. And a little bit of cream. And then I'll give this a mix until it reaches my desired consistency. So you can add more cream to make a thinner glaze, or add less cream to make a thicker glaze. I'm just going to grab a spoon and then drizzle this glaze over the top. And let's grab a serrated knife to cut this open so you guys can see what it looks like on the inside. I'm just gonna cut off this end piece. It gets a little bit dry. A little dark on the edges. Set that aside. Oh, check this out. Look at all those cherries on the inside along with the almond pieces. This is going to be so incredibly delicious. And that's it for my easy almond cherry bread. This turned out so incredible. It's going to fill your whole kitchen with the most delicious almond aroma. For the full list of ingredients and for my recipe link, head on down the video description box. You can find the full recipe up on my brand new website, so make sure to check that out. Meanwhile, let's dig in to enjoy. This looks so good. I love how the cherries are just dotted throughout the bread, and you have little bits of almonds in there as well. Oh, this looks incredible. I love the almond glaze as well on top. Wow, this is so incredible. This bread is so moist and soft. It just melts into your mouth. I love the almond extract in here. And then you have the little bits of the sweet cherries. This is incredible. This is going to taste so great with a cup of coffee in the morning. You guys are going to love this cherry bread from the very first bite. I love the fruitiness from the fresh cherries, and you get little crunchy bits of the sliced almonds in there, and I love that simple almond glaze on the top. It just adds a little bit more sweetness to the bread, but overall, just incredible. And I love how easy this comes together. You can have this in the oven in like 10-15 minutes. Just depends on how fast you can run around your pantry and get this all done. But it's such a delicious, quick and easy recipe, especially for summertime when you have some fresh cherries on hand. I hope you guys enjoyed this easy and delicious cherry bread at home. And if you do make it, leave me a comment down below and let me know how you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with a new video.